Welcome back to Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. If you are just tuning in, we just finished talking all about the Giants offseason. We went over all of their additions, their subtractions, their draft. I went and gave them a C. They lost a lot of key pieces, but they got some huge additions back. So it all kind of balances out in the end. Before that, we were talking about the NBA draft. We went over winners, we went over losers. I had the winners of the NBA draft as the Los Angeles Lakers, the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Washington Wizards, and the Portland Trailblazers. And my losers were the Hawks, the Pistons, and the Bucks. But in this segment, we're going to finish up our NFL coverage. We're going to go over the Giants schedule game by game, finishing up the NFC East as we went through the other three teams in the last couple days. So if you want to hear about their records, go check it out. And we'll do a whole division recap at the very end as well. But before we get into that, remember that if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Leave a tip or donation with a message in it. That message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. If you do have a burning question about sports, anything at all that you would like to ask, go and throw that in the comments. Go and throw that in the chat. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate all of you guys for sticking around, talking some sports with me here on a beautiful Friday afternoon. But like I was saying, we are going to finish up our NFL coverage today, going over the Giants' schedule game by game. So if you're new to this segment, like I said, I've got a big old spreadsheet. I'll post the NFC East tonight, actually, so go ahead and check that out. But Game 1, Giants versus Vikings. And this is going to be a really interesting game, right? The Vikings most likely starting Sam Darnold. They have a much better offense than the Giants do. Their defense has a lot of rookies. It's still in shambles. They have a lot of moving pieces in that offense. I am going to take the Giants to win this one, although I do see that this one could go either way, quite honestly. The Vikings have a tough schedule after this, and I feel like this is one that they feel like they might have to win. But I'm going to take the Giants to start off the season 1-0 against the Vikings before, taking a couple tough ones. At Commanders, this is the first game at home for Jaden Daniels. I think that's going to be enough juice for the Commanders to take this one against the Giants, as the Giants fall to 1-1 after week 2. And it doesn't get any easier. Their next two games are against two potential playoff teams in the Browns and the Cowboys. They go to Cleveland to play against the Browns, and again, going up against Myles Garrett. That offensive line, as much as it's going to be improved this season, because they're getting Andrew Thomas back fully healthy, Myles Garrett is going to destroy that offensive line. And they're not going to give Daniel Jones or Drew Lock, whichever one of those guys is back there at that point, any time to breathe or really make a difference. So I have the Browns taking that game 3 against the Giants. And also back home against the Cowboys. Cowboys have been a thorn in the Giants' side for a very long time. So I'm taking the Cowboys to win that game as well. So after 4 weeks, the Giants fall to 1-3. Last in the division, not a place that you want to be. And it's not like this schedule gets any easier. Like I was saying, this is a tough schedule for the New York Giants this season. They fly all the way across the country to take on the Seahawks, a Seahawks team that I'm pretty high on. Again, I have this one going either way. This is another one of those 50-50 games. But I'm going to give the Giants a win on this one. The Giants and the Seahawks play pretty closely. Even in the game where the Giants got blown out last season, there were moments where it looked like the Giants were staying in it in that one. So at this point, the Giants could be 0-5. They could be 2-3, which is where I have them. I'm giving them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt here. But it doesn't get any easier. They immediately, week 6, 7, and 8, go back home. It's a little bit of a homestand, but they have the Bengals and the Eagles, and then on the road at the Steelers. And I think the Giants are going to lose all 3 of those games. The Bengals, that's not really a close one. The Eagles, again, have had the Giants number for the last 5 years, basically. And the Steelers, that defense of the Steelers, especially playing against the AFC North, as I've talked about a lot in this NFC East division review, it's going to be tough for these teams, especially the Giants and the Commanders. Those defenses are stout, and these teams don't have really the offense to deal with that. So the Steelers, I have taking this game as the Giants after Week 8 fall to 2-6. Not really the spot you want to be basically halfway through the season. They do turn it around in the next 2 games, or I have them turning it around the next 2 games after the bye. Before the bye, excuse me. They take on the Commanders Week 9 and the Panthers Week 10. I have them getting 2 wins back as they head into the bye week with a record of 4-6. So not the worst, not awful. They have a shot at the playoffs, but again, their schedule down the stretch, the Bucks, the Cowboys, the Saints, the Ravens, the Falcons, the Colts, and the Eagles. There's not really a stretch in this schedule where you look at it and say, hey, I think the Giants might be able to rip a couple off in a row here. And it doesn't get any easier coming right off the bye. Like I said, the Buccaneers, the Giants at this point are 4-6, Week 12 at home against the Bucks. I think the Bucks take this game. As much as I think the Bucks overperformed last season, I do think Baker Mayfield is able to produce a winning team, a team that's better than this Giants. And the same thing with the Cowboys in Dallas. I believe that's a Thanksgiving game. They're gonna look pretty bad. They got destroyed in both games against the Cowboys last season, and I don't really see the improvement for there to be too much of a difference this season. They'll get one more back against the Saints. The Saints are kind of middling as well, but I have the Giants taking that one before coming back down to earth in a game against the Ravens. Probably going to get killed in that one as well. So 3 games left to go as we head into Week 16. I have the Giants currently sitting at 5-9, basically probably eliminated from playoff contention at that point. Week 16 against the Falcons, I do have them getting one more win. Again, this one could go either way. I'm not sure exactly how Kirk Cousins is going to respond, but the Giants, I think, could get another win and probably will get another win in the next 3, either against the Falcons, Colts, or Eagles, and I'm giving it to them against the Falcons. Then they get the Colts and the Eagles, losing to the Colts to fall to 6-10 before a Week 18 game against the Eagles, and I do have it set up to a point where this is a must-win game for the Eagles to get into the playoffs, or at least guarantee a division title. So I have the Eagles, trying in Week 18. They're going to win that game, and the Giants' final record is going to be 6-11 this year. That's the exact same record that they had last season as they headed into yet another disappointment year. So again, the offseason, not too much improvement. Pretty much the same result. This probably spells the end of the Daniel Jones era in New York. They are going to have another high draft pick this year, and it's going to be most likely a new quarterback. Anything can happen, but this feels like the end of the road for him. This is his do or die season. We have gone through the entirety of the NFC East, so we'll go over records. In 4th place, I have the Giants at 6-11. And in 3rd, I have the Commanders at 7-10. And I have the Cowboys coming in 2nd at 10-7, and the Eagles winning the division at 11-6. This is going to be a tough division. None of these guys have a particularly easy schedule. The Giants, I think, might have the hardest schedule out of all of them. Having to go up against the AFC North is not an easy task. That might be the best division in all of football. But I do think that the Eagles will be able to respond, take this division, continue the trend of no team repeating in the NFC East for the since 2003, 2004, when the Eagles did it 20 years ago. But anyway, let me know what you think the Giants might do this season. Like I said, I have them at 6 wins. That's honestly generous. I think they could have anywhere from 2 to 6 wins. I kind of gave them the benefit of the doubt in about 3 or 4 of the matchups there, because I did not want to write a 2 next to them. But anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. That's the Giants. That's the NFC East. We'll pick a new division next week, break down all of their games, their entire offseason, and much more. But we're going to finish off our show today here going over our MLB power rankings. It is Friday. It's been a week. We'll go over our power rankings. We had some switch ups at the top, at the bottom, in the middle. So stick around for that. We'll get all into that in just a second here on Sports by GSMC Podcast Network.